Hello everybody, Starving Martian here from Martian Peace Theater, and today we're looking at Mars Attacks Classics, Volume number 3, the third and final volume in the Mars Attacks Classics trilogy. Of course, Mars Attacks Classics reprints the Topps comics that were made back between 1994 and 1996. And so Mars Attacks Classics Volume number 1 we already covered. That featured the original 5-part miniseries that kicked off the Mars Attacks Topps comic line. Mars Attacks Volume number 2 we already covered. That contained the 7 issues of the ongoing series before that got canceled. We also touched on Mars Attacks Image and the 2 Mars Attacks novels that were published that also went along with the Topps comics. And if you haven't seen those, just click on my name, Starvin Martian, right down below, and you can find it from there. But today we're moving along with Mars Attacks Classics Volume number 3. Now, as I said, Volume number 2, 7 issues of the ongoing series. That's as far as they got. Series canceled. No more. Sorry, Charlie. But they still had some Mars attacking up their sleeves. There's a number of one-shots and specials and miniseries, and those are collected here in volume number 3. And this is my favorite of the 3 volumes, although it is somewhat, there's a bit, it's a bit frustrating, especially towards the end. It all just kind of falls apart. The series really sadly goes off on a whimper. There's a lot of unresolved plot threads and things that we'll never know, never learn. And so that's just what it is. Let's get a close-up view at this cover here, because it is a really nice cover. Martian is kind of doom robot, grabbing tractors and cows. There's a farmer's daughter trying to get out of the way. And this cover, of course, was made for this particular edition. It does not appear on any of the comics inside. So, what do you get when you buy Mars Attacks Classics Volume number 3? Well, you start off with a story called Mars Attacks: The Invasion Dossier. And this was published in Mars Attacks issue number 1/2 by Wizard magazine. There's a nice image there of a Martian giving the Earth a thumbs down. And what issue number 1/2 is, okay, Wizard magazine was a comic book magazine back in the day. And they had these special 1/2 issues that they produced that you could only order through their magazine. But they were, and the 1/2 issue here pretty much just sums up the miniseries and the 7-part regular series. So it's a good jumping on point for issue number 3, or volume number 3 here. Basically, a person has been captured by the Martians and asks the Martians, why do you hate us? Why are you attacking us? And the Martian goes over the entire history of the invasion up to this point. And it's a pretty good story. It's well told recap. And if you just want that one particular issue, it's pretty cheap. Most of these are pretty cheap to track down. And so there's that. Following that, we get the Mars Attacks Baseball Special. Mars Attacks Baseball. It's called Take 'Em Out at the Ball Game. And so here's a cover featuring a Martian batting some poor schluck's head off. And with the cover here is art by, I think his name is Simon Bisley. I've never really liked this guy's Mars Attacks artwork. He's very hit and miss for me. He's done some excellent work, like with Predator and Aliens, but I've never liked him on Mars Attacks. But that's just my opinion. Your mileage will vary. So Mars Attacks Baseball Special was actually teased a bit in the last couple issues of the ongoing series. I have a feeling they were going to do that in the ongoing series, but ended up getting canceled. And it reminds me a lot of Space Jam. where the home team has to play a game against a group of aliens. Of course, this one has a little bit more decapitation in it. The Martians do they stack the cards in their favor. They kill off like all the best players and bring in like allow the Earthlings only to use like B-rated baseball players. They take up the bases away from the playing field and instead bury some people like up to their necks so their heads are the bases. So the humans when they're running around with like their cleats have to make sure not to step on like this poor little old lady's face, even though she's like second base or whatnot. Yeah, I never wanted to get to second base with a little old lady, but whatever. Um, and this is why I prefer Volume 3 over the first two. They started to bring in some of the trademark Mars Attacks dark humor, which I think was lacking in the first two volumes. There's a little bit here and there, but the Martians in this volume, they're really getting into the swing of things. They're really starting to enjoy their conquest of the Earth, and it shows. And when the Martians enjoy what they're doing, rather, we enjoy reading what they're doing. That's just, how it works. A happy Martian makes for happy readers. So following that, we get the four-part miniseries, Mars Attacks the Savage Dragon. Now, if you watched my review of Mars Attacks Image, you'll know that that was not very good. It's my least favorite Mars Attacks anything. And this story is part of that story. It shows what the Savage Dragon does when he vanishes partway through issue 3. And he has his own four-part adventure. Amazingly, this is my favorite story in this book, possibly my favorite story of the Topps line. Mars Attacks Savage Dragon is an awesome read. Um, and I can't stress this enough. They gave us Martians that look like honest to goodness Mars Attacks Martians. I never liked the redesign of the Martians for the Topps comics, where their heads don't look like brains anymore and their faces don't look like skulls and they got those stupid piranha teeth and this and that. Technically, this should not have these Martians in it because the Mars Attacks imaged in it, but whatever. This story also cemented the Mars Attacks multiverse. I don't know if you're even aware that this is a thing, but apparently this is an alternate reality to the Mars Attacks that we see in the Topps comics. Because Komodoth of the regular Topps comics, he's one of the Martians there. You hear him mention and whatnot, him and the Payaks from that dimension. They actually send characters from that dimension into this dimension, opening up a infinite Earths kind of thing. So we could say this Mars Attacks exists on a alternate timeline as the movie Mars Attacks or the card Mars Attacks or the IDW Mars Attacks. And so we get that there. But Mars Attacks the Savage Dragon. This is an excellent miniseries. I've never read the Savage Dragon. I don't know anything about his character. That's one of the few detriments to the miniseries. That if you don't know his character, you're going to be a little bit lost. But I was able to figure out what was going on. I just wanted to show you this page here where the Savage Dragon savagely attacks the Martians. This is aside from the fact that it's always sad to see poor innocent Martians getting slaughtered. This is an amazing panel, or amazing two-page spread of Martian mayhem. Basically, from what I gather reading this, the Savage Dragon is unaware of his own origin. He just kind of appears on Earth looking all green and frilly and doesn't know where he came from. And so, it's hinted in this story that he might actually be a Martian. That he's almost a sleeper agent that the Martians planted on the Earth to prepare the way for their invasion, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't remember that, and he's blown away by this possibility that he might be part of this army that's attacking his world. And so he's on a quest to destroy the Martians and also to find out the truth about his identity. He doesn't find out the truth about who he is in this miniseries because they have to do that later in his own book. But spoiler warning, he's not actually a Martian. In this story, we also meet this character here. This is oh, I have her name's on the tip of my tongue. Colleen McKay. Same nurse from the original miniseries, except this is the alternate reality version of her. Apparently, in an alternate timeline, you can be blind in English. Whatever. She gets enhanced by the Martians partway through. And yeah, this is what a Martian enhancement looks like. So if any of you ladies are looking for a Martian enhancement, there you go. So excellent miniseries, cannot recommend it enough. It ends on this interesting note where you see, there we go, Colleen McKay. She returns to, well, she doesn't return because she wasn't there, but she comes to the main Topps Comics dimension. She starts blasting Martians left and right. And there's a little panel on the bottom that says, "Does Colleen survive? The answer is in your hands. Write and let us know. In the meantime, be here next month for the High School from Mars." So it's almost as if they had this idea, like if people really liked this character, if this was the breakaway character of the year, that she'd go on and do more interesting things. Sadly, she doesn't, because Mars Attacks High School, the two-part mini-series that follows that they just advertised there, would be the last we see of Mars Attacks for a while, and it's not very good. In Mars Attacks Classics Volume 2, we were introduced to a character called Cannibal Annie. She is a three-breasted, vampire-ish cannibal lady, and this is her here on the cover of Mars Attacks High School number 2. She says, "The Martians made me the woman I am today, and I'm going to kill them for it." And I have a terrible sexy woman voice, I know. It's not something I have a lot of opportunities to practice. So that was the cover of issue number 2. This was the cover of issue number 1. Do you see a theme? I'll tell you what you don't see. You don't see a Martian. Okay, look, Topps, I get it. Sex sells, okay? But we can get sex anywhere. Alright? Comic books are literally full of, woman with sex appeal. We could pick up any issue of any comic and see a scantily clad lady. True, most of them only have 2 breasts. You do give us that one little extra, but we're looking for Martians here, alright? We're looking for Mars attacks, not, three-breasted, prostitute-looking vampire chick attacks. I don't know, maybe some of you are looking for that. I don't know. I wasn't. Mars Attacks High School is also done in black and white. And not in particularly good black and white either. Like some black and white's artistic. Like the Batman black and white series. That was really good. But this is more we're running out of money and can't pay for colors black and white. This looks like coloring book black and white. The story's all over the place. And a lot of the plot threads that were created were left hanging, and I don't know why, because clearly they were running out of interest in making Mars Attacks comics, they were running out of money to make Mars Attacks comics, they were running out of ideas to make Mars Attacks comics, and I don't know why they couldn't have just concluded everything, but they didn't. And so we're left with a lot of dangling plot threads, we're left with a bit of, I don't know what happens to him, and I don't know what happens to her, and I don't know if I care. And that's Mars Attacks Classics Volume 3. Sadly, the entire series just kind of fizzles out. But especially Volume 3 here is a fun ride until it does. So, yes, I recommend Volume 3. It has, like as I said, Mars Attacks number 1/2. So you don't even really need the first 2 volumes. You could just jump right into this. If you are a Mars Attacks fan or completionist, then definitely pick up the first 2 volumes as well. This is worth it for the Savage Dragon crossover alone, in my personal, humble opinion. So guys, this has been Starving Martian. Hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you next time. Until then, watch the skies.